Good Monday morning, Northern Michigan. Time now 6:45. It's no surprise that inequitable school funding is a hot topic in Lansing. The Traverse City Area Chamber of Commerce is stepping up and speaking with lawmakers on the impacts that the issue is having on Northern Michigan schools. I sat down with Doug DeYoung with the Chamber to talk about where the issue stands.
The Chamber has been actively pursuing equitable funding for Northern Michigan, and we've been working through our Chamber Alliance partners as well as through some citizens groups to really bring the issue to light.
Doug DeYoung, the Vice President of Government Relations and Business Advocacy with the Traverse City Area Chamber, says the equitable funding issue is really about a $2,000 difference when it comes to base funding for schools throughout the state. In fact, 50% of the schools in the state have higher levels of funding, with most of the Northern Michigan districts at the lowest level.
You look at a lot of Northern Michigan school districts, and they're in the $6,800 range per pupil, and you see other school districts in the $8,100 range per pupil. That's a large impact on schools when you look at that $2,000 difference.
To try and combat the problem, the Chamber has been actively educating state legislators and letting them know the impact this could have on the future of our students.
We need quality schools across Northern Michigan to be able to attract talent, to be able to attract business, to be able to have businesses continue to grow. Our school districts have done a very good job over the last decade with all the cuts that they've seen. But now that the state has time and money to reinvest in education, we're asking that they really address the equitable funding issue.
DeYoung says some funding will most likely come out of this year's state budget, and that could help to start close the gap within the school districts.
The governor has really expressed, when he was here in Traverse City earlier this year, and we've had opportunities to follow up with him at some other events when this question's been asked, he's really said that in the year 2013, equitable funding in schools and school funding really needs to be looked at. So I think we've brought to the forefront the impact this has on our region, the impact this has on the kids in the classroom, and the opportunities they have. It's more than just the Chamber. It is a grassroots effort to really engage and educate legislators on these issues and the impact it has on the education that the kids get in our region.
And besides Governor Snyder, who's addressed the concern, several Northern Michigan legislators have jumped on board.
Senator Walker has really led a strong charge in the Senate in terms of bringing equitable funding to the forefront and really addressing that issue. On the House side, we're seeing leadership from all Northern Michigan legislators really bringing this up as an issue. I think it's really because of their efforts and the engagement of the grassroots efforts to really help support them in their efforts. It has turned basically the tide in Lansing to look at this and say this is an issue we need to address.
Now, Doug DeYoung says the whole idea here obviously surrounds the school districts in Northern Michigan and the fact that equitable funding would give students better opportunities to compete and a better chance to go on to secondary level education, especially as our society moves into a global economy. And of course, 7 and 4 News will continue to follow this topic of equitable funding and where it stands in Lansing.